All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Justin and I'm uploading a deck profile for Artmage Fiendsmith. I recently came first place in locals, going 5-0, undefeated, coming in first place, and I'm uploading this just because there's a lot of Artmage, there's some Artmage deck profiles out there, but there's not a lot, and I feel like this deck is one that, it's definitely more for skilled players. I think that there's a lot of plays and things to still be discovered, and there's a lot of different combos and things that I'll get into in the video, talk about some more. But yeah, without any further delay, let's just get into it. So to start, we're gonna do for the Artmage engine, we start with 3 Medius. This is your starter. On summon, he gets Power Patron, which fuses into Deactors, which is your negate once you have 3 or more archetypes. Also, he can come back from grave by shuffling another monster. This card actually turns hand traps into extenders. So going first, if you open maybe a Fualos or maybe double Ash, you can special summon him from grave by shuffling the card in your hand to the deck, and it's all one effect, so you don't lose it for cost. Next, we have 2 Power Patron. This is your quick effect fusion during the main phase. And like it speaks for itself, it gets you into Deactors with Medius, which gets you into your play, and also it's an extender. When it's sent from hand or field to the graveyard, it gets you an additional spell or trap that's not already in your grave. So sometimes you can use this to get the trap to pitch later for a search, or even get into the field spell if you hard open him or you hard open Medius. Next, we have 2 Artmage Latera. This is your graveyard recursion, and at first I was playing her at 1, but given the different scenario she's in addition to being like the other material to make Ilya Silva, Latera is like literally the MVP. Her plus Alteration is 1 card combo because she gets a card from the grave after special summoning herself from hand. These cards all dodge Imperm very well because their effects activate in hand. The only problem is that they play into Perulia. But Latera is definitely your extension. And also, one thing to remember is that her effect during the main phase is not contingent on having 3 or more archetypes, like Griflair being a quick effect and Finmills negating all monster effects. Speaking of which, we play 1 Finmel and 1 Griflair. Finmel is oftentimes I made boards that didn't end on Finmel. She's more of a suboptimal end piece, but also she's a great distraction because people see negate all face-up monsters and they turn all their attention to it. So a lot of times what you'll do is you'll let her get negated and possibly leave the field because people don't understand that you can use Latera to get her back to the field. So yeah, Finmel is great, and she also draws you a card upon being special summoned. And then last of the Artmage cards, we have Artmage Griflair. Special summon, sets a card, gets you into Medius by setting Assault or any other spell, and gets your combo going, and also is spell and trap removal, which might not seem as important now, but with Draco Tail going around setting cards during turn 0, it's actually very good to be able to destroy spells and traps they set during your turn. That way they don't have those resources during their turn. So yeah, Griflair is great, and also if you are interested in K9 packages, he is a level 5 to go into that as well. So that's it for the main deck Artmage monsters. Then we're going to move on to the spells and traps. We're playing 3 of one of the greatest field spells ever created. We're playing 3 more ways of how to get to it with Alteration, and then we're playing 3 Assault to help us with more consistency into Medius. We're also playing 1 Succession as a fusion and 1 Awakening. This field spell is great. The same way Medius turns dead hand traps into extenders, the field spell turns any unwanted, maybe you open up Lightning Storm, it turns any unwanted spells and traps into your Artmage monsters because you discard a spell or trap, declare the Artmage name, and add it to hand. So with Medius and the spell, essentially this deck, there's no bad non-engine because all non-engine can be turned into, it can get you into your plays. So this field spell is great. However, it does play heavily into Droll, so if you are, just be cautious of what you're going to get off of that first draw, just because it could very well be your last. 3 copies of Alteration. This is just pretty much 3 additional copies of the field spell. People don't ash this, and it's ashable because if you already have this field spell, you are able to add a different Artmage card from deck to hand. So it's very surprising activating this turn 1 or first play, and people don't ash it. and kind of let me get to field spell. Because once I get to field spell, I'm going to get at least one search, and that search could very well be a Graflare, a Finmel, anything to extend if they don't have Draw and Lockbird. So yeah, this is also great. Artmage Assault. I was experimenting with this at 2. I did notice in my siding patterns, this was the one card that I sided out and sided to 1, just because it plays really hard into draw. Just because once you play this, add Medius, they draw you, you get into Medius, and then you special summon Artmage, Power Patron. You can't really do much after that because you're locked out of adding. So even if you fuse, you can't really do anything. And then also fusing during your opponent's turn without any additional setup is not really an actual board. You're trying to just kind of dodging things at that point if you do fuse during your opponent's turn without 2 other archetypes. So this is also protection for the field spell. The amount of times people try to destroy the field spell and not realize that on resolution I can send this to the grave to protect it. This is awesome. It happens all the time. Last spell, we have Succession, quick play fusion spell. This is how you'll get into your Guardian Chimera, Ilya Silva, or any other Artmage monsters you want to make. Or if you've already used Power Patron's quick effect, you can also use this as well. There's some combos where I'll go Latera, or if I open this with the field spell, I'll pitch just get Latera, get it back, get Finmel, get Power Patron and go into Ilya Silva. So yeah, and also this is your recursion because you can banish this from grave and put any 3 Artmage cards. So if you maybe run out of the trap before you banish it for its second effect, or you just need to get your 1-ofs back into the deck, this is great for that. So you play 1 of that. Last but not least, we play Artmage Pack Awakening. I can't remember the branded card that this pretty much is, but this special summons Medius or an Artmage monster, and if you do successfully do that for the rest of this turn, they can't negate or they pretty much can't interact with your fusion summoning effects, and monsters fusion summon that way. So yeah, this kind of is really broken. And also, if you do decide to just pitch it going second to search, you can banish it by sending back an Artmage card to go ahead and pop a card on the field. Don't recommend it going second. I recommend trying to at least get 1 use out of it first as far as special summoning, and then follow-up turn if you make it, banish it to pop, try to crack the board and go for game. But yeah, 1 of pure builds, if you play it at 3, it's not wrong, or even if you play more than 1, it's not bad, just because it's a great trap card. That's it for the Artmage engine. Now for the Fiendsmith stuff, because we are playing Fiendsmith Artmage. We are on 3 Engraver, 1 Lacrima, and 1 Sanct. 3 Engraver is for consistency purposes, because no matter what, even if I get drilled after Engraver, I am able to go into Caesar because I play Sanct. People have been telling me to play Track for the extra body, but what I've realized is that it's not necessary. You can go into Caesar in 4 instead of 5 this way. I know people might think playing the trap is good, but for some reason I'm a bad player, and when I do play the trap, I end up forgetting it's in my graveyard when interactions arrive where it's used. So I am thinking about adding it back to the main deck, but right now we're at a clean 40. But Fiendsmith stuff, it's still good. There's a combo where you can make double Chaos Angel with Engraver and Medius that I can show at the end of the profile that I started working on. I didn't get it off, but it gives your opponent something to have to respond to if you want to wait, before going into your immediate Artmage stuff. Lacrima, like I said, sends 1 to the grave, sends another Engraver, so if you do need to extend further, you can. And also, if you just want to have her on the grave for follow-up during your opponent's turn, it's also an option, even though you're not setting the trap. So yep, 5 Fiendsmith cards, and that's it for the engines of the deck. As far as the non-engine, we're on 3 Fualos, 3 Ash, 3 Imperm, 3 Droplet, 2 Lightning Storm, and 1 Call By. Hand traps suck hand traps don't suck this format, but we're in a format now where everyone's engines and archetypes are designed to play around at least 2 or 3 points of interaction with non-engine. So Ash Blossom, it's almost completely power crept, but because it's so generic, stopping adding from hand, sending to deck, and special summoning from deck, it still remains. A lot of times I might end up saving it for my turn if I don't see a point, if it's not enough to stop what my opponent has going on. 9 times out of 10, people are opening up 2 or 3 hand traps, a starter and extender, and Ash does not compete with that at all now. Fualos, however, does. Even if people aren't going into the extra deck, special summoning from the main deck is something that most combos and archetypes do in some point of their interaction. With Fualos, I never found myself shotgunning it unless I was in a game 3 and I needed my opponent to not play their entire turn, or I didn't want to wait to see what they got to before trying to do it, because they might play draw into some extension depending on what their combo is. But no, Fualos a lot of times is a turn skip. It's great, and if people take the Fualos challenge, you know, oftentimes you can win off of that. Also, you don't lose to Fualos because you don't have to go into your extra deck. You can also make a board with Power Patron, Finmel, Latera, and Graflair, and that'd be totally acceptable. You would have 3 interactions, and you'd also have a board wipe because you could tribute 3 off of Power Patron to go into Nerva, and then blow the board up if they don't have an interaction with it. Imperm, just because Imperm is also a hand trap and a board breaker in this deck, and is also, if you brick, you know, setting Imperm is still good. So yeah, Imperm is just serves similar purpose as Ash, but it's more versatile. Droplet, I like Droplet in this deck. Opening 2 Droplet is not bad because, again, you can always pitch the unwanted one, or you can either with the Droplet you plan on using, or with our Artmage Acropolis, the field spell. Yeah, Droplet, I thought Droplet wouldn't work in this deck because of card economy, but when you are playing into boards with Droplet and you start using your engine to start breaking the board, and then you use your non-engine to finish the job, it feels great. So yeah, no complaints about Droplet. Last 2 non-engine cards are Lightning Storm. You know, people don't expect it, but Lightning Storm is always good. Blowing up attack position monsters in case people aren't playing careful, and then destroying back row is also great. And then Call by the Grave is the only real non-engine extender. Most generic. I don't have to play unwanted targets with, you know, like a cross-out designator if I need to main a droll. It doesn't seem optimal. It's better to just have the call by. If not, then it's probably game. If not, you know, if not, I have Fiendsmith. If I don't have any of that, then there's games 2 and 3. So yeah, that's it. 40 cards for the main deck. No complaints whatsoever. Felt clean. I always opened up either a copy of Medius or a copy of Engraver and 2 or 3 engine. Most of my hands were 1 Medius, 1 Engraver, 2 non-engine, and extender. So no complaints. For the extra deck, we are on 2 Deactorus, just because it's always great to be able to make one make a second one without having to shuffle back the other one, even though you can. Like I said, Omni Negate on field destroys as well. When he's destroyed, he gets back a copy of Media. So even if you don't go into him, so if you already have him established during your turn before you pass, you can make another copy during your opponent's turn, which is nice. Nerva. This card is great because Nerva is a board wipe that most players aren't anticipating. And most of the time when you use Power Patron, they're going to think that you're going for a Deactorus. They don't understand that this is a board wipe and can end turns on itself. Just because Power Patron triggers Engrave, which will then give this card an opportunity to turn an Artmage effect into a board wipe. Now, keep in mind, if your opponent, if you're playing against this deck and they try to do that play, you do have an opportunity to respond to Power Patron with any other quick effect or Ash Blossom. And if you do, this will not have the opportunity to chain, but they might have another Artmage monster like a Graflair or a Finmel that they'll try to chain to that interaction to then change this to blowing up the field. So yeah, that's for the Artmage extra deck. For the Fiendsmith, we are on 1 Closed Moon, 1 Requiem, 1 Necroquip, and 1 Caesar. We are on a very small package. Throughout the 5 rounds, I never had an experience, a game where I felt like I wanted to have Desiree, or even felt like I needed to use it to send to grave off of the trap. This was enough. Being able to go into Caesar on 4 summons was awesome because I didn't have to worry about Droll. This card is also great. Necroquip's also awesome because you can also go into Chaos Angel with Medius, since he's also a 6 and Medius is a 4. So that's also one of the ways you can go double Chaos Angel. Requiem is Requiem, get the whole play started. And Closed Moon. Closed Moon is great, but Closed Moon is also not necessary. Well, it is necessary if you don't open Fiendsmith. Let me correct myself. But because you're playing 3 Engraver, 1 Sanct, there's been times I've gone into Closed Moon after doing other stuff, like summoning a Medius no effect, special summoning Flare after having the field spell on field, and then going from there. So Closed Moon is cool, but I could see if you decide to cut it out just for other extra deck purposes. And then for the other support cards in the extra deck, we have 1 Guardian Chimera. You'll have 3 cards in most of the time. 1 Illasilva. I often make this during my opponent's turn, and they get shocked because they don't realize Latera is a light spellcaster and Power Patron is an illusion. Also, Nerve is an illusion. So if you went into your Nerva with Power Patron's effect, and you also still have Succession on the field, you could also use your Nerva as an illusion if you have Latera to go into another copy of Illasilva. So that's it for the fusions. 1 Chaos Angel. If you're playing Fiendsmith in this engine, you have to play this. There's a combo. Pretty much you can go Sanct, Requiem, special summon the Engraver, normal summon the Medius, no effect. Then you can go Chaos Angel, because Chaos Angel is not once per turn, special summon target. Then what you can also do is shuffle the Chaos Angel back with the Medius Engrave, special summon, and then you can use the Engraver Engrave, shuffle back the Requiem if you don't have any other fodder, and that's what you want to do, and then go into a second Chaos Angel, because again, it's not once per turn, so it can banish 2 cards. So not ideal going first, but definitely the play I prefer going into if I'm going second, as opposed to making a Caesar, because I'm actually cracking the board, and if my second one is made with a light and a dark, then they can't really get rid of it. That's that. So that's Chaos Angel. Last supporting cards is Typhon, because you play Typhon if you're losing and you stall and hopefully win. If not, then you end up losing. Cross Sheet, did not end up using it, but it is an option. Your only real level 4 lowers are Medius, Latera, and Power Patron. But still, you can bring back the Power Patron if you fuse into Deactress with it on the field and have it for the next turn. But yeah, didn't use it, but also wanted the option in case I wanted to extend my combos. Herald of the Miracle Light, you can make this with 2 Medius as 2 fairies, or you can make it with 2 Engravers or a Latera. And since you have a fairy, since you're running a fairy in Medius, you have a discard for the Omni Negate, for the Spell and Trap Negate. Last but not least, we have a Bow, because we are playing the Fiendsmith stuff, and a Bow can special summon lights and darks, like our Chaos Angel, like all of these cards, so we can continue getting additional effects. And if, like I said, Chaos Angel is not once per turn, so if you just keep spamming getting him on the field after properly summoning him the first time, it's kind of crazy. And then last but not least, SP Little Knight, because SP Pass is still enough. SP and 2 Imperms is oftentimes enough to get back to your turn. So yeah, until this card gets banned or power creep, it's a staple in the extra deck, just because it helps, extend games. That's it for the main deck. Extra deck is 15 cards. So yeah, and last but not least, the side deck, we are on 3 Lancia, because Malice is still around. Also Crystron, K9, they banish a lot to get a lot of extending effects. So Lancia came in clutch. Droll, because Droll still stops a lot of decks, including this one itself, and being able to stop Yummy in its track, or force Yummy into a half board where they're not just getting stuff for free, it feels good. Last hand trap, or I guess you can board breaker, is actually a Sphere mode. So I'm not playing Nibiru the Primal Being, because waiting for someone to get to 5 summons does not feel good, because most of the time, if they're playing like that, they either have a way to extend past Nibiru, or they're going to play under Nibiru. So oftentimes if people keep comboing off, I find, like, there's been time, I had one match against Yummy, they ended on SP, Snatchy, and the Link, and I just Sphere mode off of it. And because you have a second normal summon because of the field spell to summon Medius, and most of the other monsters special summon, it's great. And then you can also Thin Mel, negate this, attack into it, and now your opponent doesn't have fodder to link off to if you were worried about that. As far as these cards I'm playing going first, 1 Crossout Designator, just in case we need to stop an Ash, Droll, or Imperm where we really need to let the play get through. We are siding talent. We're playing enough engine to where we can do stuff without needing non-engine to play through it. The Fiendsmith stuff alone is enough to break boards with Engraver, Chaos Angel to get through. So yeah, I only really side this card in when I know I'm going first and I need to definitively win that game. Last going first card is going to be Fusion Deployment. We're only playing 1 just because it does lock you out of Fiendsmith stuff. And Ash Blossom negates the effect, not the activation. So if this card is activated and they ash it, you are still locked in the fusion monsters, which can suck if you open Fiendsmith stuff. And then the last card of the side deck is 3 Judgment. 3 Judgment won me game 2 in round 3 by setting it. Sometimes you end on the Actress and you don't have anything else to help you negate. Maybe you have one other monster. As a sometimes Judgment just comes through as an extra layer of disruption, and it doesn't, the chain doesn't continue because it's a counter trap. So that 4,000 is definitely worth it. That is the deck profile in its totality. As far as my matchups, round 1, I played Malice. I went to game 3, they lost in time because I was trying to attack with, they were at 5,200 and I was at 8,000, and I was going to try to attack to get into my field spell. It was battle phase. I went to declare an attack. He activated something which blew up my power patron, and he lost in time because, well, if you have 2,000, if you have 52 life points at time and your opponent has 8,000, you lose. Round 2, I 2-0 Gladiator Beast. Round 1, he just didn't open well. Round 2, he didn't open well, and I think I also opened Lancia, so he couldn't really do much. Round 3, I played a Mitsurugi Plant Insect Pile. Round 1, they kind of were going off, played by themselves, and did all their stuff. I couldn't break the board. Game 2 was the game I was able to set the Judgment in addition to my other interruptions, and was able to kind of stop them from pushing through. Game 3, I hand trapped them with Fualos. They passed, and then I just kind of finished off the job. Round 4, I played Yummy. That was it went to 3. Game 1, I believe I lost the die roll. Game 2, I set up too much stuff for them to play through. And then game 3, we went back and forth. I broke their board with Sphere Mode, and then I was able to just keep comboing. And that game went a few turns before it ended. And then round 5, I played against Yummy again, 2-0. Round 1 lasted like 20 minutes, or game 1 lasted 20 minutes, back and forth. And just couldn't, they went first. The thing about Yummy is that Yummy doesn't have things that stop you, but most of their plays during your turn is setting up to get to the interactions. So if you oftentimes wait until they're there before you start truly playing, oftentimes you can play into their quote-unquote disrupts and still be able to break their board and get to the next turn. That's what happened in game 1. Game 2 went back and forth a few rounds, and they just couldn't get through. So yeah, I love this deck. It's very fun. It's a budget deck right now just because all this stuff is cheap outside the Fualos. I'm playing the Secret Remedies because I love this deck, but the Ultras are cheap. Everything else is not expensive. The field spell is $10. And like I said, there's no bad hands in this deck because there's no non-engine that's dead. So yeah, I'm going to keep playing this for the rest of this format. If I do go to YCS Pittsburgh, I think I'm going to end up taking this if I don't fall in love with Draco's Hill, which is on the way. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hopefully you see another deck profile from me sooner rather than later with also good results. And this is Justin out. Have a great day.